And in turn, I'm a couple days late on this video, which is unfortunate, and I don't really know why I'm procrastinating, really. I don't not want to record, and I don't, I'm not bored or anything, it's just I haven't been able to get myself to sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna record and work for like 2 to 3 hours, and I don't really know why. But finally, I'm ready just to sit down and get to work, because, well, like I said, I am 4 to 5 days late. So, for this video, I'm building a gold farm. And that is because, if we pop over into my valuables storage, I don't have that much gold. Not at all. I mean, this isn't all my iron, and this isn't all my valuables, except for the diamond front. I'm gonna have to work at that in the near future. But it just isn't enough, really. This is a hardcore world. I should have piles and piles of goods, and I have, like, 26 blocks of gold. So naturally, instead of actually grinding out and doing work for it, I'm just going to build a farm so I can do that, because, farms make everything better. So for this farm, I'm going to need a grip of obsidian, and to start off with, I have 47, which is nothing new. I estimate I'm going to need about 3 stacks, and so let's get to grinding that out right now. And just like that, I headed off to the end, and look at me flying all around there. Well, anyways, I kind of forgot where my end portal was at, so I went to my phone and double-checked the coordinates and ended up winding back at my portal, where I went through and kind of just roamed around the end collecting the obsidian from the pillars. I had to collect 8 stacks of obsidian, which was exhilarating, and that was really something else. Like I said, it was exhilarating. I then had a pretty scary moment. I'm not entirely sure if I caught it on tape, but if I did, I will show you right now. If not, then I did continue on to use my ender blender, where I healed up some of my tools. Now after this point, I did something incredibly stupid. I muted myself. And I thought I learned my lesson from some of my earlier videos, but apparently I didn't. Because I was now muted for the rest of the clips up until this point. So basically what happened was I went to the end like I showed off. I got all my obsidian, I did that. I then went and gathered up the last couple of materials for the farms, which included some redstone bits, as well as some lava. I then found the ideal placement for the farm, which was a nice flat area. I did some nice flattening and terraforming, just a bit though, just to make the area nice and flat, but also a little natural. And then I moved on to the farm. Now, to start off the farm, I made a nether portal just to check which area the pigmen were coming out of. It took me a little while, but I ended up discovering they're coming out of what side they were coming out of, at least. And then I did move on to actually constructing the farm. I constructed the first portal of the farm, and I went ahead and showed off some of the redstone on the farm, basically how the observers and the dispensers work. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to use that because there's no audio, so instead, I'm going to have to explain it right now. Alright, as I mentioned earlier, I was having some technical difficulties, and now I'm going to show off some of the farming, like the way the farm actually works. As you can see, I got my farming skin on now, so I could properly show you. So, first off, this is the observer, oh my god, I botched the first part of the tutorial, that bodes well. Anyways, this is the dispenser. It fires out water, pretty simple. There's an observer clock up here, and on top of this, there's a little room. Inside this room is just a bit of trapdoors, and lava's gonna go there. Lava isn't there right now simply because putting lava there will turn on the farm, and I don't want that right now. Because then I'll have hordes of piglins in my world, and I won't have anything to do with them. One thing I'd quickly like to note is that, well, this portal may seem a little huge for the farm, like you're probably thinking, like, why can't I just flatten this, make it a bit shorter? I could, but the farm would be less efficient. The bigger the portal, even height-wise, the more piglins will spawn. And in the end of the day, that's all that matters. So now, with my farming skin, I'm gonna finish the first bit of the farm. So, yeah, here's a quick time-lapse of that, I think. Probably, I don't know. I may or may not do a time-lapse, let's see. See, this huge structure is actually the bubble elevator, and up there is the sign stopping the water from overflowing, meaning that technically this thing is done. I just need to place a block right here to make sure no pigmen escape out of my temporary exit. There we go, and now I just need to pop the water over, or not the water, the lava over in the farm. There we go. Yep, there we go. Farm is now active. I could pull that lava at any point and watch the farm, well, turn it off. And now if I go up here and follow this guy, more pigmen will be coming. It needs a couple seconds to sort of warm up, you know? And if I just follow this guy's journey over here, oh, more coming. This is actually a lot more efficient than I thought. This piled up with 5 more farms should create a nice amount of gold. Okay, it does seem like they can occasionally get stuck on the edges, but over time, new pigmen will eventually force them out. Now, if I just get level with this guy... Oh, I didn't mean to fly up there. Okay, I can wade up here. Oh, shoot, I just realized there are blocks missing. Now, I'm not seeing pigmen come through. I thought that the turtle legs would bait them, but it doesn't look like that's happening right now. So I'm going to go down there and check out what's going on. I'm not sure if it's the distance or anything like that, but they're just not getting baited in. Oh, actually, no, some of them are going in. Huh. Okay, let me push a couple of them in, just make sure that the kill chamber works. Oh, I can hear pigmen dying. Oh, never mind, it is working. Yeah, it's working perfectly fine. Okay, maybe it just needed a bit more pigment in the system. Okay, yeah, this is a problem I kind of figured would happen. They are getting stuck in here. I'm not exactly sure on how I can force them out. Maybe a row of blocks would stop them. Oh, wait, they're not tall enough, though. Okay, I'm gonna figure out a solution to this. Okay, so I tested the farm for a bit, and I determined that the farm actually does work perfectly. The only problem is when there's a couple of pigmen, like 1 or 2, the farm does struggle a bit because it kind of relies on the pigmen on pushing each other around, but it does work. I followed a single pigman, and he actually did make it through the farm, and so I'm going to consider that a win, and I'm going to hook up a quick collection system and continue on the farm. Test number 2, which is just to turn the farm on and see if, well, the pigmen are ending up in the proper areas when dropping. So the thing is, I used hoppers because even though it's more expensive than using something like a hopper minecart, a single one, or a single hopper, this way the system shouldn't get overloaded when it comes to pigmen drops, because you drop a lot, and I mean a lot, of rotten flesh in this farm, meaning that the farm can easily get overcrowded. And so basically what that hopper system does is it just ensures that no rotten flesh and anything, like no amount of it, should cause an overflow in the farm. So obviously I do plan on having a better storage system than just some, well, chests at the end. This is very temporary. There even is going to be an item sorter paired with this. I just need to double check that everything is okay in this situation. And, well, now I'm just going to open up my area here so I can leave, because I just realized I closed that up. Make sure all this system is running fine as per usual, and now wait for some pigmen to drop. The first of the pigmen are arriving in the water elevator. They do sort of get stuck up there sometimes, but I think that could be remedied just with some turtle eggs. If I think about it, if I just put a line of turtle eggs back there, or even just one, I think the pigmen should go. For now, I'm just using, as you can see, the other pigmen to push them through, and it seems like they're only falling through one edge. But running, and I'm actually going to pop into a quick time lapse of me finishing the rest of these farms. Is now finished, but surprisingly, before I start it, I need to do something. You see, this farm creates a stupid amount of lag as a byproduct because, well, the portals are constantly flashing, there's tons of entities inside this farm, and it just creates so much lag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some anti-lag measurements into this farm. So the first of my anti-lag systems is this. It's just a very simple wall around the hoppers and above the hoppers, and basically what it does is up there it prevents the pigmen from falling any more than 1 block forward, and down here it just makes sure that the items always end up in the hoppers. Now basically what this does is it prevents any stray entities from coming in, meaning that the farm can work with basically the least amount of entities it can. So all the entities that are causing lag are mainly these signs and the well, this isn't entity, but it is sort of like it, where the flickering of the portal also creates lag. because it is like something, a non-block that is causing an update, which is forming a lot of lag. Obviously, that is the heart and soul of the farm, so I cannot remove that. But what I will do is I will add an on and off switch, therefore preventing the farm from, well, pretty much creating so much lag that it's unbearable. I literally just went to sleep, so nothing should kill me while I'm lagging out, so I think it's time I finally start powering up this farm. So, well, farm is on. Well, it's on. There's literally nothing else to say about that. And oh my goodness, does it produce lag. But if we hop into here, mind you, the closer you get to the portals, the more lag you get. Look how many pigmen are filtering through. I literally just started this, and so many pigmen are falling in. Now watch, if I just go into the kill chamber, mind you, it's fall damage, so this has, oh my goodness, that is a whole lot of lag. Okay, I need to fly out of here. If I just look over here, I should be seeing loads of pigmen falling through, and my goodness, my lag wall didn't even work. My lag wall has not protected the farm in the slightest. It seems like the loot just piles up. And I don't know if you can see this, but I'm moving at like 10 frames per second because of this farm. Ooh, I might need to turn this off right now, actually. Okay, it seems like no matter what, the pigmen do find a way to fall down. So I'm just going to turn this off very quickly before my PlayStation gets overloaded. Whoa. That's all I can say about this farm right now. Okay, so this wall doesn't work like I hoped it would. So let me just go over here and grab as many items as I can and just filter them through here. But, oh my god, that was such a huge amount of piglin. They're still coming, and the farm was only running for a few seconds. I'm not sure how they end up behind the wall, though. I think it's just because of the distance they're falling. I mean, most of the items are ending up where they should be. There's just a few stragglers. But when the farm is on, it just creates so much lag. As you can see, as soon as the levers switch, there's almost no lag. Well, none other than the usual amount of lag aren't helping in any way, shape, or form with the lag. So I'm just going to push these guys through, make sure they're all in their place and dead. And then I am going to do a couple more tests with the farm and make sure it is working at full capacity at the very least. It's been a little while since the last clip, 2 days to be exact, and I completely forgot what I was doing when I got back. So I ended up having to rewatch the clips from before to find out what I was doing. And obviously, you saw the clips in quick succession, meaning that I was doing like I was testing the farm. And it did work pretty much perfectly, as I checked right now. The only problems I'm having is occasionally a pigman will get stuck down there or up here, and occasionally they will die, and their loot will end up somewhere around here. Luckily enough, though, it does seem to be happening less, and I did test the farm's like product, and obviously by the gold ingots I'm holding, you get a pretty good amount for a short period of time. Like, it was running for like no more than 10 minutes, and I got 49 gold ingots, which isn't bad. So now the final thing I want to do, because the farm is almost wrapped up. Well, the farm itself is finished, but now I want an exterior on this thing. I really want to make this farm just look nice from the outside. So I'm going to hop into a quick build time lapse, and you guys are going to see at least the first part of the exterior. Now, before I enter said time lapse real quick, I'm just going to show off the block palette I will be using, and it's just this. This is the main box. It's not enough, but it is a start for the build. As you can see, I'm using a lot of bricks paired with granite and polished granite, and basically that's going to make, it's going to give it a bit of a factory look and feel to it. And I'm also going to pair this with a bit of stone, which I have in here, and maybe even some andesite if I could get my hands on it. So I'm now going to start on the build, and it's going to come to you in the form of a time lapse. And I'm not going to go too crazy, but I am going to make it look nice, simply because right now this is very ugly, and I don't really like the look of it. So it's now time to enter said build time lapse. So here we go. So this is the completed farm, and I gotta admit, this is the single ugliest thing that has ever graced my hardcore world, and it doesn't get better from any angles. So basically, originally it was supposed to be like a factory type build, but it kind of just turned into a warehouse after I realized how, like, I guess how impossible it would have been to make this look very nice, simply because of the scale and the block palette I chose. Something surprisingly expensive in Minecraft is bricks, and I even was using the villager technique, but even then, you get roughly like 2 bricks per emerald and like 2 brick blocks, and that's not a lot. That is definitely not a lot of bricks to get building, especially something like this, which takes easily, if I had gone through with the same pattern all the way up, that would have taken easily like 3 shulker or well, maybe 2 shulker boxes of bricks. So as you can kind of see, I just ended up covering up the whole farm and lighting it up. I did turn this on for a split second. It ran perfectly, it ran smoothly. And I also did extend this up here. So now there are less drops being lost. And the last thing I kind of did was just move this so that now I could run the farm whenever I want. And as you could kind of hear from back there, it's now running perfectly. So the next step is going to be just to add some more like commodities to the farm. So first off I want an item sorter, but to be perfectly honest, I was really fighting with myself with this one because as much as I want and need an item sorter for this farm and a proper chest system, I'm kind of lazy. Yeah, I don't really want to build an item sorter, but I'm gonna have to, so I'm gonna get cracking on that, as well as some other things I need to add to the farm, like a proper AFKing area, and maybe a bit more decoration. So I'm gonna like just start moving on that. And as I said, I started off with the last bits of the farm. So first off, I built a item sorter to separate the rotten flesh from the gold nuggets, and well, embarrassingly enough, I do not know how to create an item sorter off the top of my head, so I had to look up a tutorial and did some very like botched redstone on the item sorter, but I was able to fix it in the end, and I now have a successful item sorter for my gold farm. I then proceeded to cover up my horrendously ugly redstone with a pile of granite slabs that would cover up the most, like the entrance of the farm, and that kind of gave the farm a bit more of a complete look. I went around the sides and set up a quick storage system, which I also decorated like a dumpster because, of course, holding priceless valuables means it gotta look like garbage. And on the right, I created what looks to be the matching pair to the garbage, but is reality an AFK room. Even though it's closed up, that means it is perfectly safe and nothing can get in my way. So just like that, I have now completely wrapped up the farm, and just to show you kind of what happens is I'm going to turn this on. This is the farm, obviously, right? And this causes the piglins to start spawning, or as you can see, some are already up there. I would then technically break this open and enter it. Since I'm not going to be doing a full AFK session in this video, I will be just ignoring that step. I then go off to the side, and well, pigmen are already falling, as you can see, and as they fall, the rotten flesh and the gold get sorted under here, and it is then dispensed into these chests. As you can see, I've already collected quite a bit of it from the farm, and this is overall running pretty well. As I mentioned before, this does create a horrible amount of lag, but I am okay with that, and I'm just going to live with it. So I'm going to kind of stare at this running for a bit and see how much gold it produces. So it's been about 20 minutes. I'm now going to turn off the farm because as you can see, my world is moving at like 10 frames per second. So if I flick this off, the farm is now off. I'm going to place my walls back in place because this is where I was AFKing. And, well, instantly the lag is pretty much all the way gone. Those portals are pretty much the only thing in this farm that causes so much lag. And if we were to pop over here, it's still processing gold ingots. But that is actually a fair amount of gold. I was expecting a lot less. If we just go into the farm's main room, the original storage is still here, which is slightly hilarious. But there actually is nothing in there, so that means the farm is almost completely empty. So, oh my goodness, though, there are a lot of gold ingots over here. Oh my god. Okay, maybe I'm having a bit more losses than I've thought. So let me go, well, this goes in the trash. If I throw this over here, it winds up in the incinerator, which is under the farm. And now let me just craft as much of this into ingots as I can. So in gold bar form, the farm's product equals roughly about 3 stacks in 3, and that's pretty good for only 20 minutes. because you got to consider that I actually wasn't there for that long. It was, like I said, actually it was a little less. It was like 19 minutes at the farm, so I didn't leave it running for too long. Also, that makes roughly 20, well, roughly like 20, almost 22 blocks. 21. So it's a pretty good farm. It's very efficient for being Bedrock. Normally in Bedrock Edition, gold farms are pretty slow and could even go for like a stack of ingots per hour, which is remarkably slow. And if you're wondering, I just put all my items in here so I could actually grab the gold ingots. The gold ingots that were there that I just picked up were actually from the farm earlier. I just found them in my inventory. So I am actually glad I built this farm. I just noticed this top chest is not accessible, so I'm going to fix that real quick. And I am so rich, I can actually stack up using like gold blocks, so that's pretty cool. Now, if I break these, I should be able to open. Yes, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Usually that doesn't happen, but that does change the structure of the farm just a bit. Well, not the farm, just the decor. And if I just do this and that, and I just broke a wall, and then I stack up again using gold because I'm so unbelievably rich, and then I just do this, and there. I fixed the farm and all of its problems, so that's all I had to do. So, unfortunately, this means that, real quick, before I do my outro, I actually have to collect this up. I'm not that rich, okay? So this means that my video is now over, and I really do hope that you guys enjoyed watching this. I put a lot of work into this simply because of the size of the farm, and so if you did enjoy watching this, please consider subscribing. I do work a lot on these videos, and I hope you guys can see that and enjoy it. And that's really it, so thanks all for watching. I found myself in the predicament that my build is so horrendously ugly that I can't use it in the thumbnail, so I'm gonna have to find a clever way of making a thumbnail without that build in it, because let's face it, if I posted a video with that thumbnail, I would not get a single view on it. That thing was ugly.